Hello, beautiful divine souls. Hope you're doing well. I was just sitting, enjoying a cup of tea, and when I'm relaxing, it's usually when my creativity kicks in and I just start receiving messages or, words. And I really think it's just my higher self, channeling through me. And the words that I heard when I was just sitting quietly, and I even just wrote them down just so I didn't forget exactly what it was. Um, this is what came through. What if we're all just actors playing a part in this movie called life? And when we exit the movie, we get to choose another part in the next movie. I just found that so fascinating. And it reminds me a little bit of that William Shakespeare quote, where he says that all the world is a stage and every woman and man is an actor. It's quite profound because I believe in reincarnation, and I also follow the work of Dolores Cannon. I have for years. And if you are familiar with her work, she has done hundreds of thousands of hypnotherapy treatments on people, accessing their subconscious mind. And the common denominator in every single hypnotherapy treatment, it was quantum healing hypnotherapy, is every single person had the exact same explanation of what really happens, and that we really don't die. We just transform from physical to spirit, which is our original being. We're a spirit first, and then we choose to reincarnate into a lifetime. And through reincarnation, our souls are always choosing to come back and to experience multiple timelines. Some people have lived hundreds of years. Some people have lived thousands of years. There are some souls that have been here for millions of years. And I know, like, the religion, especially the Catholic religion, um, doesn't believe in reincarnation. Although I believe there are other religions that do believe it, but in Catholic religion, which is what I grew up in, they say that it doesn't exist. And instead, what they tell people is that when you die, you either go to heaven or go to hell. And they create this fear around death, and that everybody needs to fear death because, well, you have to be a good person so you can go to heaven, and if not, you'll go to hell. Now, that's really just a perversion. That's a man-made belief that's been mind programmed into the people to fear the wrath of God. And the funny part about it is that they tell us that we need to go to church, we need to follow these rules, we need to be a certain way to be accepted into the church of God. We need to have our baptism and all of our sacraments. And if not, we are judged. We are judged by God. We are judged by the church. And you see, this is where I call hypocrisy and I call BS in the religion, is because God, the true God, the real God, source creator, does not judge. God does not have conditional love. God, it has unconditional love. God's created everything and everyone. And why would God judge the very creation that he created? It just doesn't make sense. So I'm not here to force people to believe whether the reincarnation is real or not. That is for each person to discern and to go within and figure out what's true for them. But for me, from a very, very young age, I've always known that I've been here many lifetimes. I've had familiarities, I've had synchronicities, I've had a lot of experiences in my life that have shown me that I've been here before. And as I got older and as I started tapping back into my true spirit self, I started having rememberings of past lives. And through having quantum healing hypnotherapy treatments and through meditation and through a variety of other things that I've done, I've been able to see these past lives of mine. And I've had many, many lives, which when you start to understand, will help explain a lot of what you're going through in this current life, right? Now, in true spiritual dimensions, there is no time. There is no past, present, future. Everything is happening simultaneously. But for the sake of being here on earth, we use time as a construct to help us identify time. And so being here in this lifetime right now, this now, is that each of us chose to come here. And it's actually a privilege to come here. And it is also a difficult thing to do, to choose to come here, because, well, planet Earth has been one of the densest planets in the galaxy, in the universe. So coming to planet Earth from soul into physical is dropping in from the highest beautiful vibrational states of consciousness and dropping into the most densest, most difficult, most you know, in most cases, very traumatic experiences. But the purpose for reincarnation is that because our souls, we have free will, and our souls are always on a cycle of evolution. We grow and evolve through experiences as souls, just like we do as humans. So when a soul reincarnates, it's because perhaps there was unfinished business from a past life, or they need to close a karmic loop, or they simply just came because they had a specific role to play in this particular lifetime. And I know for myself, that's definitely the case. There's a variety of reasons why the souls choose to reincarnate. Now, when I heard that, what if we're all actors in this movie, right? Well, essentially, that's kind of what we are. You see, before we choose to come down into this physical, dense planet, up in spirit form, we're all one. There is no judgment. There's no negativity. It's just love and light, literally. And everybody is there cheering each other on. And so when we make the soul choice to come down, we choose to come down with soul families or soul groups to come and experience the family dynamic. And sometimes we choose difficult families to come into because there's something that we need to learn and heal. And so by being in a very dense, abusive family, or having a lot of difficulty in families and facing some, not very nice things, I kind of look at it as almost like it's like you're taking on a lot more to heal karma at a much faster rate, because there's important things that you have to do here in this lifetime, right? Now, another thing to note is that we've all been murderers. We've all been the abusers. We've all been the victims. We've all been rich. We've all been poor. We've been kings. We've been queens. We've fought in wars. We've experienced the gamut in all the different lives that we've lived. It's just that we don't remember, because when we drop down into this density, we have amnesia. We don't remember because it's so dense on the planet. But part of coming here is going back to remembering who you are. And as you go through your awakening and your healing, and you raise your consciousness, you raise your vibration, you begin to shed those layers and those veils. And that's when you start coming into connection with your spiritual gifts, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, your clairaudience, and all of the other clairs. It's because you've always had them. It's just, and we all have them. That's the thing. It's just that some people are more advanced with that because, well, they came in maybe at a more advanced soul level and they've done a lot of karmic healing in past lives, or maybe because some people actually truly step into that and really face their shadows and do their healing, and that allows them to increase their consciousness at a faster rate. And when you do that, as your vibration rises, you begin to connect back to those vibrations, those gifts, those memories, remembering who you were, who you are, where you came from. And, this is so beautiful because reincarnation is real. And one of the reasons why the Catholic religion has denied this truth is because they have been suppressing and enslaving humanity and essentially rendering them victims, that they don't have any power and that they need to give their power away to someone external to them, that they need to bow to an external god, to a priest, to give money, give their power, give their time away, when all the while the God source has always been within. And this has been the biggest trick, the biggest deception here on planet Earth, is when they've tricked everybody into thinking that they're not special, that they don't have any powers. But in actuality, humans are the most powerful divine people, souls, energy beings in the universe. We are not the only intelligent species here, but we are the most sought after because of our DNA. Because when our DNA was interfered with, manipulated thousands of years ago, they took away these powers of ours. They knocked our DNA. We, in true form, we should be operating at a 12 strand up to 24 strand DNA, superhuman, right? It's no coincidence that humans have what scientists have been calling junk DNA. I mean, God doesn't make a mistake. Why would God put junk DNA? And scientists could never really figure it out. And those that did know just went along with the narrative. So we've ultimately been operating from about 2 strands of DNA. And with the collective ascension that's taking place, with this great awakening, and with the consciousness level rising on planet Earth, more and more people are awakening to these truths. It's helping people turn on and activate more of their DNA. And so there are some people that are awake, aware, that are working on themselves, that are releasing karma, that are healing and moving into higher states of consciousness, that are now operating in 4, 5, maybe even 6 and 7 strands of DNA. And we're going to eventually go back to our full strand DNA. When that happens, when our DNA is completely activated, we will go back to our powerful selves, where we will be able to teleport and do telekinesis and telepathy and all of these time travel and amazing things. That's what we used to be like back in the era of the Lumerian era and Atlantis. Humans were super powerful like that. But see, that was the fall of humanity, when the darkness came to Earth and took over. And unfortunately, when humanity fell back then, they fell into a very, very dark energy, the Dark Ages. And that's when the negative forces took over humanity and began to manipulate and control humans' DNA. Hence the reason why we've been essentially so controlled and enslaved, because we forgot who we were. We have been so weakened by everything, that we've been disconnected from ourselves. We've been disconnected from source, creator. We forgot that we're actually always connected to source. When you become disconnected, we forget. So that's where the veils of amnesia come in. But there are many of us right now that are awakening to these truths, that are reconnecting themselves back to source, that are raising their vibration and consciousness, that are activating their DNA. And the more work that one does on themselves, and the more that they release the negative, the old beliefs, the traumas, the wounds, which are density, the more healing a person does, the more they raise their vibration and their consciousness, and ultimately activating their DNA. Hence the term ascension. That's what we're going through right now. We're going through an evolution of consciousness, or ascension, which just means that we're ascending into higher states of consciousness. And this is how the Great Awakening is part of this whole thing. It's that they've been trying to stop this from happening, because they knew that this time was going to come, and that we would be evolving out of the dark ages and back into the light ages, the age of Aquarius. And we are entering that right now. So the dark forces have been trying to stop this ascension from happening. And if you look back at the last 100 years, and you look at all of the things that they have done to harm humanity, to reduce population, to create illness and disease and pandemics and wars and genocides, they've done everything possible to slow down our ascension. And they've gone gangbusters the last few years with this pandemic because, well, frankly, they were starting to panic because they know that they can't stop this. And so they are doing everything possible to hold on to their power. And they're showing us what they're doing. The lies, the deceit, manipulation, the harm they've done with these vaccines and the pandemic, and all the controls that they've pushed out over the years through government mandates and legislation, and the lies, and the financial enslavement system through taxes. And I mean, it just goes on. And you can see that everything they've done has just put humanity into a further deep fear. And the more you traumatize and you put people in fear, the more they give away of their power and become more disconnected from God. So we're at a very critical point right now where more and more people are starting to awaken. If their souls are ready and they've reached that point in their journey here, they're going to be going through their spiritual awakenings. Many have gone through it. There have been a lot that have gone through it the last 3 to 5 years. There was a huge number of people that went through it in 2012, and also when they did 9/11. You see all of these traumatic events that happened. They're all man-made. They've all been created intentionally to create fear. And when you create enough fear in the masses, then you're able to control them. So we all chose to be here. We all chose our experiences. We all chose our families, our friends, our jobs. Everything has been planned before we came here. And when you start to recognize this, or, begin to open yourself to this possibility, you will start to receive little hits of information, familiarity, synchronicities. Something feels right. There are no coincidences in this life. There are no coincidences. Everything that happens has all been divinely orchestrated. The people that come into your life, the experiences you have, the places you go, the things that you do have all been pre-orchestrated. Now, one thing to note is that when we do come down to planet Earth, we do have what's called free will, which is one of the universal laws And through free will, we each have the choice to choose what it is that we want to do. And a lot of times we will choose things that go against our soul, our soul mission or our soul contracts. And that will put us onto a different timeline. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everything is free will, and there is no judgment from God creator, because everything that we experience is really just part of our learning. And then when we exit this life, when we walk off the stage, we can go back and we do a life review of what was experienced here and have the opportunity to come back again to make it right, or to heal, or to close karmic circles or cycles rather. But I'm also of the belief and understanding that if you were a terrible person in a past life, let's just use an example, like if you were an abuser in a past life, well, then it wouldn't be surprising if you experience this lifetime as a victim of abuse. You see, you need to have both polarities in order to close a karmic cycle. So if you caused harm to someone, you have to come back and experience what it feels like on the other end. And so it's like the negative and the positive, when come together, create a neutral. So you close that karmic cycle, right? So many things you can look at within your life, and the places that you're having difficulties in, it's a good way to reflect and say, okay, like, I wonder if in a past life I did A, B, and C, or I wonder if this happened to me, right? And it doesn't even have to be your previous life. It could be many lifetimes ago. It could be, that's the thing. It's like we don't only just come to planet Earth. We also have lived on other planets, in other universes and galaxies. It's infinite. It's infinite. You know, and again, part of what we've been taught through our mainstream here on planet Earth, as far as like dumbing our intelligence down, is telling us that there's only 7 planets, and there's only this, and there's we're like the most intelligent species in the universe. Well, that's not true. That's not true at all. There's parallel worlds out there. There's other planets that have life, more advanced life than us, and many other universes and galaxies. It's infinite. It's infinite. So I just thought it would be a great topic to discuss. And there's a reason why I received that download. And I just thought, hey, I'll just come on and do a quick chat about that. And yeah, and if you are interested in learning more about reincarnation, I highly recommend you look up Dolores Cannon's work. She is now deceased, but she has been the pioneer of quantum healing hypnosis therapy, QHHT. And I've experienced one of these treatments, and it's pretty amazing. But she's written numerous books. She's got, I think it's over 40 years of science-based documentation of all of the people that she's worked with. And it's just fascinating to read and learn about all the different people sharing from the subconscious what actually happened, both on a personal level and at a collective level. Many people that were hypnotized were talking about the lifetimes that they lived in 20, 30 years, 30,000 years ago, in Atlantis, in Egypt, in Lemuria, and going back even further in other planets, right? It's not a coincidence. Many people who are skeptical will say, well, that could just all be made up. Well, yeah, it could be if it was just one person or 10 people or 50 people that said that. But she's got over 40 years of documented studies. And when she looked at all of the reports from all of the patients that she worked with, every single person had the common thread going through it. And the common thread was that we we've all been here before, and that reincarnation is real, and they share the experiences of what it's like. So look it up. And if you're interested, check out Dolores Cannon's work, and her information is amazing. And also a great way to, you know, understand this is just even just to sit with this information and go within and ask yourself how it feels. Is it true for you? How does it feel? How does it resonate? And oh, and I wanted to share one more thing. And I've always known, again, from a young age, that piano and music came very, very naturally to me from a very young age. I didn't take music lessons. I was able to sit at a piano and just play a song with no musical notes, nothing. I would just play it on key and taught myself chords. Now, I always felt like in a past lifetime that I was a musician. I was a pianist. I was, somebody that was a very, very well-known musician, right? Um, and this has been confirmed to be true. So a lot of the things that you're really, really good at in your life that just come naturally, or anything that you feel an affinity for, a passion for, something that you're just so interested in. Like another thing for me is like I've always been obsessed with Egypt, the pyramids. And I've come to realize that I've actually lived in that lifetime, many lifetimes in Egypt. I've also, had passions for healing, energy healing, medicinal, herbal healing. Well, I've discovered that I have been in a past or several past lives. I have been a shaman. I have been a healer. I have been an indigenous leader that was healing people. And, you know, there are no coincidences. It's fascinating when you can open your mind to the possibilities that everything that we think we know is not really all true, and that there is so much more for us to learn and realize. And it's like, we're just this tiny, tiny, tiny little dot in the universe, this tiny little poke, right there. And yet the universe and the galaxies are so vast. And we've been told that they don't know what's out there and they don't know. But, again, when you come to planet Earth, you have to understand that the density and the control systems that were running this world did not want us to know. They essentially trapped us here without our consent. And they actually had also put in a karmic trap that was put in so that when the souls left, they didn't have free will to leave. They had to come back over and over. Now, this has been dismantled. This no longer exists. But at the time, this was a very, very dark, dense place. And those of us who chose to come here, were some of the most courageous people. I like to call myself a warrior because I chose to come here because I knew I had something really big to do in this lifetime. And there's so many orbs around me. I don't know if you can see them. Every time I do a video, I always have orbs that are flying around. It's just my spirit team here with me, supporting me. I had a big role to play in this lifetime. And so, I chose some challenges in my life that ultimately at the time were very, very difficult. But looking back, I can see that those experiences that I had to go through were really just for me to speed my evolution up, to heal a lot of my karma, and to learn and grow and become stronger. And I've reached a point in my life where I've dropped enough of that baggage, not all, because healing is never completed, but I've dropped enough of that baggage now that I do have quite a bit more clarity and understanding of who I really am. where I'm really from and why I'm here. And it's pretty exciting because I'm here to be a part of this beautiful transition that humanity and Mother Earth is going to be going through in the next decade, couple of decades. We're going through a big shift. And, many of us that chose to come here and awaken to the truths are here for the sole mission of helping humanity. So I am here to be of service to humanity, to share my wisdom, to share guidance, to speak my truth no matter what, to be authentically me. And in doing so, I'm able to connect back to my true higher self, my connection to God. And I'm guided every day. I'm guided in everything I do because of that connection. And I've really had to learn how to let go of people's judgments of me. That was a lot of wounding and trauma that I had to heal these last several years, is letting people go, letting people judge me, letting people think whatever they want of me, because it doesn't matter. I know who I am. And much of what people project is really just their own inner wounds and healing that they need to do, they need to figure out. But that's not my job to fix them. My job is to focus on my soul evolution in my lifetime to achieve what I have to achieve now. And everybody has to do their own work. And basically that's pretty much it. And this is where we're at right now. So if you think that you are one of the people that came here to assist during this time, well, I am truly grateful for you. Thank you for being here. If you have no idea that reincarnation even existed, that's great. I'm glad you're here as well. And I encourage you to do some reading, do some research, read Dolores Cannon's material. There's plenty of information out there. She's not the only one. And but the only way that you're really going to know what's true is going within yourself. You see, you are God creator. Your soul is the spark of creator. So everything that you need to know is already within you. It's just a matter of remembering that and learning how to go within to hear and see and feel the truth. There's always going to be distractions out here. There's always going to be people out here telling you what to believe and what to do and how to do it. And there's infinite distractions, and all of that is by design, I might add. Everything, entertainment, it's all by design. It was designed to create a low vibration to keep the mind controlled and focused on this, so that it takes you away from what's really going on. Okay, and it's happening right now with this pandemic we've had the last few years. If you're still watching the news, you're contributing to that. You're giving consent to being mind controlled. And the best way to disconnect from that is to turn off the TV. And you will figure it out. You will find your way, and you will find too that when you're open to it, you're going to suddenly realize that people are going to start coming into your life. People that might feel a resonance to, or you might feel like a familiarity, or they're coming in to help you as a mentor, as a teacher. It's like when you open your mind, you're literally saying yes. And whatever needs to come in that's for your highest good will come in. But it will not come in until you're ready. And in order to be ready, you have to be able to sit with yourself and have the awareness that there is so much more than what you even think is truth. For there is infinite truths. And, you need to figure out what's true for you and not allow what anyone else tells you to be your truth. So thanks so much for listening. And from one actor to the other actor, I bid you adieu. Maybe we will meet in person one day. Our paths may cross. And if not, that's okay. My intention for doing these videos is simply just speaking my truth, sharing wisdom, sharing higher knowledge, sharing higher truths. And if any of this resonates, that's wonderful. This is how we help raise the collective consciousness, is by spreading the light and spreading the truth far and wide. And those that are ready to accept it will. And those that are not ready or choose not to is completely okay, because everybody has free will. So thank you so much. I love you, and I will talk to you on the next video.